In this episode, I'm going to run you through the different ceremony options for your Italian wedding. Ciao, I'm Lucy. I'm an Italian wedding planner and I'm the founder of Lista.com, the website that is there for you if you're planning your Italian wedding. I often hear a lot about the complications of getting married legally and in a church in Italy, and I'm just going to start by saying it is not as complicated as the internet may make out. It's actually pretty easy. There's just a few steps to take, and we've got loads of information on our website about those steps and how to actually get married in Italy. So the first option I'm going to run through is a civil wedding. So this is a legal wedding. This is you sign the paperwork, you are legally married in Italy, and you come away with a legit bilingual marriage certificate that you can take home. The things to consider with this option are you have to do paperwork to get legally married, and there is, depending on where you're from, 2 or 3 steps to this. So it's worth investigating when you're weighing up the decision of the type of wedding that you're going to have. But as I said before, it's not as big a deal as various kind of internet articles will make out. So it's worth just exploring it if it's something that you'd really like to do, because it's really not that complicated. You also have to work with the town hall. So you have to book your ceremony with the town hall. And if you're getting married at a venue and you want to have your civil wedding at that venue, you need to make sure when you book the venue or afterwards, but ideally before, if you do want a civil wedding, you need to make sure that you can actually do it, because not all venues can host civil weddings. There is also a cost to this. So there's a cost to your paperwork, there's a cost to booking the town hall as well. And the town hall have a set order of service that you have to follow. So your ceremony will have an order of service that is dictated by Italian government, and it's worth also just checking that you're happy with that ceremony and you're happy with the wording and the promises that you make to each other in front of everyone before you go down that civil ceremony route. There's all the details of this, all the tools, all the breakdown are in my membership, the club. If you're thinking of having a civil wedding, it's definitely worth just learning everything about it before making that decision. The second type of ceremony, and I think this is the most common, is a symbolic ceremony. So this is where you legally get married, usually at home, and then you come over to Italy and you have your symbolic wedding in front of everybody. So a friend or family member or a professional celebrant will take this ceremony for you. The ceremony itself can be absolutely anything that you want. It can have readings, it can have a personalized story about you, it can have songs, it can have rituals, literally anything you want it to be. It can be as long or as short as you want as well. A lot of couples opt for this because it's easier, because it is easier than taking the steps to have a civil wedding at home, but they're also in control. So by going down this route, you can obviously have and say anything you want, and you can control the length of your ceremony, which, if you're getting married outside and it's hot, is quite important. People like to have short and quick ceremonies. I love a symbolic ceremony because it's highly personal, it's often informal, and it feels very intimate because it's so personal, because it's got so much of you in it as a couple. It really feels like your wedding. And I think there's often concern that a symbolic ceremony won't actually feel like your real wedding if you've already got legally married at home. But let me tell you, it absolutely does. It's such a different experience and a different day when you've got absolutely everyone there. You're in your wedding clothes, you're in Italy. That really does feel like your wedding day. And the third most common type of ceremony is a Catholic one. So Italy obviously has so many churches, so many gorgeous churches, and Catholics love to come over and get married at them. Now the priests of those churches all kind of behave slightly differently and have different rules around foreigners getting married in their churches. So the best thing to do is identify a church that you like, and either you or your planner should investigate whether you can actually get married there, usually by talking to the priest. If they say yes, then there's a whole other load of paperwork involved here. You have to work with your priest at home. If only one of you is Catholic and baptised, then you probably have to go on a marriage course together. There's a few steps to this. Again, it's all over in the club. If you're a member, you can get all of this information for free. And it's worth just working through all of the steps you'd have to take before you make an official decision on whether you'd go ahead with the church wedding, because it is an undertaking and it's more admin for you to do, when obviously wedding planning for Italy is already quite a lot. There's a nuance here that you can have 2 different types of ceremonies in a church. You can either have a wedding ceremony where you're literally having the priest conduct the service and you've legally got married at home already. Now this is the easiest thing to do because church actually prefer this. They like to see a civil wedding certificate 3 months before you actually have your wedding. You can get legally married during your wedding service as well in a Catholic church. This just requires even more kind of paperwork and has a little bit more risk to it because it's challenging to align the town hall and the church. If you're going to go down any of these routes, the civil wedding or the Catholic wedding, you need support. Now, you can do it on your own, but it is just definitely risky. As a planner that has done it many times, there are lots of nuances to this, and you literally cannot put a step wrong. If you do, you are not going to be having your wedding, and that's not an exaggeration. And finally, there are other churches of other religions in Italy. So personally, we've done a ceremony in a Greek Orthodox church. It's just about finding the right options for your religion or what you're looking to celebrate. Now, a symbolic ceremony can be really nice because you can build in the rituals and traditions from other cultures or other religions. It doesn't have to be in a church, but if it works out that there's the right church for you and it's near a wedding venue that you can go back to, then obviously it's worth exploring that idea. Again, it's the same process of talking to the priest. Having a wedding planner is often really helpful in this because it takes a lot of conversations, there's a lot of nuances to it, and it's all about building a relationship with the priest and the locals. So having someone on the ground to keep that conversation moving, to move all of the paperwork around, to go and visit the priest, which all of these things are required relatively regularly, it's obviously something that you probably couldn't do yourselves. Ultimately, this is just another one of the decisions that you make on the journey of Italian wedding planning, and it's one that you could make quite far up front because it could dictate lots of things around your venue and your budget. So it's a good idea to understand as much as you can when you're booking your venue, so you know if you're booking a venue that allows civil weddings, if you're booking a venue that's near a town hall space that you want to use or a church that you want to use. I often find that by going on the venue search, you tend to unravel what's the most important to you. If you fall in love with a venue that doesn't allow civil weddings, but you absolutely adore it, then you may be really comfortable having a legal wedding at home and a symbolic wedding in Italy. If it's really important to you that you have that civil wedding in Italy, you know from the start when you're looking for your venue that you must have a venue that allows a town hall wedding, or you're going to be looking for a town hall that's beautiful and suitable for you to have your civil wedding at, and then head back to your wedding venue. If you're looking for support in this area, as I mentioned in my membership, the club, we've got all the documents, all the steps to take when you're planning any of these types of weddings. And as I mentioned, it is pretty serious, so it's really good to know all of the facts before you jump in. Thanks for joining me on this one. I'll see you next time.